Maestro Bramwell Tovey, our guest, and a busy man in our town. And you give back a lot to the community. That's good.
I live here. My kids go to school here. My wife and I pay our taxes here. Why wouldn't one want to invest in a community? I think it's a fantastic city.
Where did it all begin for you? I know you were born in the England.
I was born in what is now the East End of London, in Ilford, which was then just inside Essex. And my parents were Salvationists, and I grew up in the Salvation Army. My father died when I was quite young, and my mum raised us first as a single mother, then married to a remarkable man who was a D-Day vet and an incredible guy. I was so lucky that he came into our lives, and that's really where it all began. So.
And the music part?
The music part,
I mean, Salvation Army, yes, tuba, yes, but well, schooling?
It was interesting. I learned the piano first, classically, and then in the Salvation Army, there's a tradition of improvising at the piano for hymns. The preacher just starts up in any old key, and you have to play whatever the song is in that key. And I learned to play by ear by doing that, little realizing that that actually was the same skill that you need to play continuo harpsichord in Bach and to play jazz. So I learned inadvertently, as it were, to play by ear. And that opened up a lot of doors for me, being both a classical pianist and an improviser. So and it really sort of went on from there. A lot of hard work, mind you.
I'm sure. So when you play for pleasure,
yes,
just to play, what do you play?
Well, it's interesting. That's a very interesting question, because I love playing classical piano, but of course there's a discipline to it. You have to have, in a sense, they say you should have, when you're learning it, your head in the score. When you've learnt it, you should have the score in your head.
Right.
What I love about playing jazz is that it's very therapeutic. So at the end of a long day of dealing with somebody else's music, listening to the orchestra, leading the orchestra, and training the orchestra, as it were, I'm very anxious to just unwind. And so really when I get home, I go to my piano and I might play maybe a Sinatra song or a Tony Bennett number that I heard on the radio during the day, or maybe there'll be some compositional idea and I'll just enjoy improvising. I find that very liberating, actually. It must be when you're a taxi driver and you finally get to drive your own car.
Right.
It's that same kind of sensation, I would guess.
Exactly, I would guess. Haven't done that.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven cab?
I've never driven a cab. I admire them enormously, because I think they have to know exactly where to go, and it's a tough
And did you have some
profession.
funny odd jobs growing up? You know how they say Bramwell Tovey today is a maestro, but he once washed dishes.
I actually once washed dishes in a restaurant, Plantation Coffee House in Cranbrook Road, on Cranbrook Road in Ilford. I had a job there, and it's tough. It was with a very early primitive dishwasher, and I had to put 150 glass dishes into this dishwasher, and I set it on the wrong speed, and they all shattered.
No.
So I've been there, and I also worked at the gas board in London, preparing documents for people who hadn't paid their bills, and clearly some of them were all wrong. People were being charged millions of pounds, so I used to quietly bin those, because obviously the gas board wasn't owed £1 million by this.
So a bit of a repo
pensioner.
man, in a way.
In a sense, but I mean, I had to work hard during the holidays to pay my way through college, and I'm very grateful I had to do that, because
Never been arrested.
Never been arrested.
Not yet.
No, I hopefully there's no reason to be arrested.
I hope not. So let's talk about the upcoming concerts conducted by yourself. Songs and solos?
That's at the Orpheum Annex this week. It's part of our contemporary music program, where we perform music written by composers who are still alive.
Yes.
That always seems a funny concept to people, but actually there's some wonderful music being written now. We have a piece by our former composer Jeff Ryan, composer in residence Jeff Ryan, and a piece by our new composer in residence Edward Top. So that's this
How
week.
lovely. Why not?
on
Emerging
weekend.
composers, new composers. It's not considered new music necessarily, just new composers.
Yes.
What is new music exactly?
New music used to be the avant-garde, all kinds of quirky sounds, and it was a language that was in a specific style. But now, new music can mean almost anything, from rap to minimalism, to post-minimalism, to spectralism, all these isms that actually mean that you can write what the heck you like. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you have an integrity about what you're putting on paper.
Sure. Would we ever find you listening to rap in your car?
I actually don't listen to rap. I'm not very fond of music that has an incessant beat, because to me, rhythm needs to be fluid. One of the great things about classical music is that the rhythm is often fluid, and so just when you think it's surging forward, it pulls you back and forth. And I love that sensation. You don't get that with rap because there's a beat, a constant beat.
There's a new singer. She's not new. She won a Grammy like you, Michelle Fiona.
I don't know her
Beautiful
stuff.
voice.
Is that right?
Download her if you do such things.
I do such things, yes.
Okay, well, I know you
Unspeakable,
don't
isn't it?
tweet, so I thought maybe you didn't download. Last night of the proms, May 30th?
That's an English tradition that was started by the Vancouver Bar Choir, who handed us the tradition a couple of years ago. It's a very traditional English experience. Last year we did it in combination with the Dal Richards Big Band. This year it's back to the traditional Royal Albert Hall experience. The idea is a lot of tongue-in-cheek. We're going to pay tribute to the Queen, who of course is 60 years on the throne this year. We're going to have the usual community singing. It's a chance for the British to make utter fools of themselves, and I'm going to pretend to be Canadian for the night.
Of course.
But,
well, you are Canadian, aren't you?
I am Canadian, so I'm both
a
things.
dual?
So.
You're both.
Yeah.
I'm a dual too. A Hero's Life. Hero's
Life is a wonderful tone poem by Richard Strauss. In German, they call it Ein Heldenleben.
Aye.
And it was a man who was a brilliant composer who was hounded by critics. There's an extended passage, beautiful violin solo, Dale Baltrop.
And a superstar pianist, isn't there?
Jan
superstar?
Lietsky is coming to the orchestra for the first time. He's only 17, and he's traveling all over the world. He's from Calgary, and he's the genuine article. He's really quite an extraordinary young pianist. I'm looking forward to working with him.
I bet, exciting. And of course, Chris Botti's coming back.
Well, Chris Body is an absolute gentleman. He's every bit as nice as you see him on stage.
Really?
Working with him last time was just a pleasure from beginning to end. And one of the few artists who actually took the trouble to send me a handwritten note after it was all over. And he's incredibly busy, incredibly popular.
Yes.
But incredibly genuine. And you
And
can tell
incredibly
from the sound
gorgeous and incredibly, hello, what's wrong with him? Like he plays the horn like very few do.
Well, his gorgeousness doesn't have much effect on me, but
well,
my
on
wife,
some it does.
My wife has noticed and observed
I bet.
this
I just hope he's in our
characteristic.
side of the sill. I'm not sure. I don't know any of that. That's the stuff you would
I
probably know.
won't go there.
Don't go there. But it's, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Great
one of the
trumpeter.
finest
Yeah.
concerts. And I think he's going up to Mission Hill, to the Vineyard. He's going to
is
do
that
an
right?
outdoor concert in
that's
June with
interesting.
the wine people.
Oh, that's
Wouldn't that be
interesting.
magical?
Yeah, that would be a very magical experience.
Are you taking the symphony outdoors this summer at all?
We're hoping to. We're going to Deer Lake as usual in the middle of July. And we have various plans. Our summer season is organized much later than our regular season, and we're still working on it, and we'll be announcing it shortly. But there is now a VSO summer season, and our musicians are the ones who are in the community over the summer. Many of them travel to international festivals.
Right.
But we're looking forward to it very much.
And Gilbert and Sullivan.
Gilbert and Sullivan. Next week we're doing Trial by Jury, which was the one of the first collaborations between Gilbert and Sullivan and Richard
Like a comic
Stewart.
opera? What is it?
It's hilarious. It's about a young man and his jilted fiancée and the judge's opinions about all these things. We have UBC Opera program working with us, and the great Richard Stewart, who's one of the finest GNS patabaritones of all time, is coming over for it. What I love about this is that it's another great British tradition which is very, very popular in this city and very, very funny. I mean, it's very difficult to be funny in music, but Sullivan managed it, Haydn could do it, but the rest of us were all just terribly serious.
Well, of course you are. Yes, you are. But this opera is terribly good, I hear. Your opera, which is coming in June. And you know, in our green room, often there's a little bit of kismet. Bob Rennie's father drove a beer truck.
Well,
once.
there you are. That's
Yes, I hope that's right. He did, right? Bob Rennie's father drove a beer truck, right? Yes. See?
fantastic.
And you wrote about a brewmaster.
And
and
I also
the family.
And I learned to play music working for a temperance organization, the Salvation Army. So there you go.
see?
It's a full circle life.
It
Isn't it?
is a full circle. Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure, Fanny.
Thank you. Maestro Bramwell Tovey.